On June 20th, 1889, at the Second International, May 1st is established as the International Workers' Day, in honor of all workers of Chicago who fought for an 8-hour workday in the U.S. On the 1st of May, 1886, in multiple U.S. cities, workers go on strike. The Chicago strike was the largest. On May 3rd, the strike spreads. The police does not hesitate to open fire against the strikers. The unions respond, calling a new gathering at Haymarket. People gather in great numbers to protest against the police and the capitalist brutality. It was a peaceful protest until a bomb exploded within the police ranks. The police open fire. One falls dead. Many are injured and many more arrested, all on false accusations. Of them, Albert Parsons, August Spies, George Engel, Aldo Fisher, and Louis Ling are sentenced to the death penalty. This year's International Workers' Day finds the working class in our country and around the world in the midst of a pandemic. The collapse of public health systems around the world, even at the epicenter of capitalism, the US, despite the heroism of healthcare workers, along with the intensification of labor and the lack of basic protective measures putting workers' lives and well-being at risk, and the testing of new, more sophisticated forms of exploitation, such as work from home, are just some of the daily images demonstrating the decay and historical failure of capitalism. The international war between capitalistic countries and large corporations for patenting of a vaccine, possible treatments, and necessary medical supplies affirm what most people around the world have realized and declared: capitalism is the real virus. The lessons learned throughout the history of the labor movement in our country and around the world are more relevant today than ever. The working class has achieved great victories through immense struggles and strong conflict with the capitalists and their sovereignty, overturning power correlations that may have seemed insurmountable. The experience gained from the socialist constitution throughout the 20th century proves the superiority of socialism in securing health, safety, labor, and overall social immunity. The overturn of socialism and the setback of the international labor movement don't justify the capitalistic brutality we are experiencing, nor do they obstruct the train of history which, despite all difficulties and obstacles, always moves forward. This brutality cannot be embellished by singular measures aiming to mitigate its effects and the various cover-up attempts made by the governments and their supporting parties, the international imperialist alliances, the forces that are defending and serving this unjust, exploitative system. Therefore, employees, retirees, and self-employed workers of both urban and rural communities shall have no illusions, no deceptions. Through this new economic crisis of monumental magnitude, they shall gain nothing. That is why the counterattack of the working class and its alliance with all other social groups should not be put on hold. We remain strong during this pandemic. We are fighting to protect people's health, education, work, and culture, to tackle the refugee crisis, to defend workers, and enlarge trade union rights and civil liberties, requesting the repeal of all laws restricting trade union and political action and intensifying repression. The only way for workers to not suffer the burden of this economic crisis is to fight, to take power into their own hands. COVID-19 will be cured and the pandemic will pass, as all others have in the past. But capitalism is incurable and will continue to torment humanity with poverty, unemployment, war, environmental destruction, until the people decide to take center stage and plan their own future. The current system can only be overthrown and replaced by a superior social system, socialism-communism, where the sovereign working class has control over all productive forces. Centralized planning directly addresses people's needs. The working class is surveillant over all levels of government and participates in all levels of governance, from the lowest to the highest ranks. It shall lead to the well-being of the people, to peace and true progress for humanity. May Day symbolizes our inexhaustible battle against our opponent class. It's a precious legacy we hold in our times. With this as our weapon, in our hands and our minds, we honor Labor Day, the fallen workers of Chicago in 1886, the tobacco workers of Thessaloniki in 1936, the 200 executed communists in Kesariani on May 1st, 1944, all those who kept the fire of our class battle burning, those who sacrificed their life for a world without exploitation of one man by another. We continue down this path for the fulfillment of all current social needs of the people. Workers of the world, unite!